Hi, I'm Curt Frantz. Welcome to Growing Your Sense of Self Through Self-Defense. In this episode, we'll be training in what I call the universal self-defense technique. You have a partner there. I have as my partner, one of perhaps my favorite all-time martial artists. Great martial artist. He's my son, Master Eric Frantz. Hi there. And I'm wearing a shirt in his honor. He attends Embry-Riddle University in Daytona Beach. So we're going to work this self-defense technique, and it's related to what we call a same-side grab. So when somebody grab you with their right arm, grab your left arm, or their left arm to grab your right arm, it's the same side, right? He's not crossing over to grab you. Same side grab. But as part of learning this as our first Toshin-Su, we're going to learn some general techniques and principles of Hapkido. So the first one I'm going to talk about is what I'll call a movement to disrupt concerted effort. So if he's got a finger, I'm going to have you do this exercise too, but be careful because this can be dangerous. He's going to put his finger up at me like this here. I'm going to take his finger and bend it back, right? Put pressure on it as if I'm bending it back. Now, so you got to be careful and pay attention to what the other person's comfortable with. So he's resisting it, and I'm bending it back and putting pressure on. So he's going to get to a point where he says, all right, I really can't go further than that, and I'm not going to go further than that. Now what I'm going to do, he can take this. Maybe it's not real comfortable, but he can take it. I'm just going to do movement. He's all focused on his position. If I move a little bit, right, didn't add any pressure, but the motion was enough to disrupt where he was focused, and now he doesn't have the focus, and then now all of a sudden it's too much. Whereas before he can be at that limit, and then he couldn't. So we're going to engage that a lot of times in Hapkido techniques. The second thing I'm going to talk about in a lot of programs going forward is what's called pressure points. I'll explain those in a future session, but for right now, let's just focus on one particular pressure point. It's in the web of the finger, the forefinger and the thumb. This is called the large intestine 4. And where these bones meet, in the forefinger and the thumb, if you reach in there on that point and along the forefinger, right in that nook, but press against the forefinger bone, your sort of knees go weak on you when you hit that spot. And what's happening is, this would cause, if there was a grip here and a person pressed that spot, the grip loosens. And it's a way to release somebody's grip or help release somebody's grip on you. We're going to use that in this technique. Two guiding principles that we have in Hapkido. One is being close and another one's circular motion. So we're going to see those in this technique. And then the third rule or tool that we use is a joint lock, and we're going to see that as well. So all 5 of those things we're going to see. So if he grabs me to the same side grab, I'm going to do that motion first just to weaken his grip on that a little bit. It doesn't do a whole lot, but it does something. And then he's presenting, you can see where he's presenting that pressure point area to me. So I'm going to go ahead and put a finger, my thumb, right in there to press down on that to loosen his grip on my arm. And I'm going to take these fingers and reach around and peel his hand off. Right? Now, I talked about being close. Move in a little bit closer. So we're on center. Okay, so I've now moved in close the distance. I do that to bring him into my energy so I can control him better. When I'm operating at a distance, you'll see how things don't work so well. So I'm close to him body-wise. I'm close to him holding his hand against me. And you can see how his wrist is not in a comfortable position for him. This is a joint lock on his wrist. I'm pressing his hand down. It doesn't feel comfortable for him. So the next thing I'm going to engage is the circular motion. And I'm going to use this arm like a saw. I'm going to start low, above the elbow, towards his shoulder. And I'm going to roll his arm up. And you can see, now I got control over him. When that shoulder goes down, I've gained control over him. So if I do this here, and down goes his shoulder, this is where we're going to stop on this technique. We can go further, but right now, we've got so many things happening, we want to make sure we get them all. So I'm going to show techniques where they're not quite right. If I grab hold of him, if I don't get the pressure point right, and he's got a hold of me, if I don't get the pressure point right, I'm just trying to pull his arm off, that don't work so cool, right? So it's the pressure point that's important and the peeling off that has it. This is a good thing to have if I give him some slack here. It's not adding to the technique. The technique could still be effective, but this adds to the technique. So you want to have that hand pressed in. If I'm holding it away from me, and I try to do the circular motion, it doesn't work so well. So this needs to be tight. I need to be tight. If I'm away again and trying to do it, even holding this tight, it's not going nowhere. move in, do the same thing, and over he goes, right? So you put those pieces together. If you see something not working, look at those individual things. You're getting the pressure point, peeling the hand off, holding it close, stepping in, and rolling. Don't just start way up here and try to press. You're rolling it to roll them over, right? Okay? All those pieces go together. So what we do when we're training with your partner, so he grabs me this hand, so I get a little bit of motion, I peel it off, I pin it, I step in, and I roll him over, okay? Then he grabs me with the other hand. It's the same thing. You want to work both hands because you don't know, the guy might be lefty. He's going to turn and grab me with his left hand. It's the same technique. I'm going to move a little bit, reaching over and peeling it off so you can see on this side better. As I hit this pressure point right in here, I'm going to reach down here, peel his fingers off, and pin it to me as I step in, and then roll it over this way, okay? So we worked both hands, and then he was offering me control of his body and risking his health, going into pain for me, and trusting me that when he got to enough point, he can signal me and I stop. I mean, I knew where it was going to, so he was cool. He didn't really have to signal in this case. So we have to reverse roles so that I nurture him in the same way, right? I'm going to surrender control of my body to him. I'm going to go into pain for him, and he's going to honor me by stopping when it gets to that point. So I'm going to grab this hand. Oh, yeah. Okay, all right. I'm going to grab this hand. Oh, yeah. All right. You don't have to do that. Thanks, sir.
Next time.
You don't have to do that yet. We're going to work on that in a future session. All right, so that's our first Hoshinsu. I refer to that as the universal technique because, as we'll see in the future one, it works from a lot of different grabs and strikes and things, blind ones, a lot of chokes, a lot of things it can be applied to. It uses core Hapkido techniques. Now, there's other things, other ways to play off of that, but there's a lot of richness in that set of skills. Generate motion with your arm to begin to loosen the grip. Reach over your attacker's hand, applying your thumb to a pressure point, large intestine 4, between the forefinger and thumb, pressing in towards the forefinger bone. Reaching over your attacker's hand, use your fingers to peel his hand off of yours. Pin his hand to your chest as you step in towards your attacker. Use your hand like a saw, starting from just beneath the elbow, to roll his arm so his shoulder pitches forward. Kamsamida. Toodles.